Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching CCN Crown City News, your neighborhood. I'm Tammy Devine, Larry High Jr., and Sanita High Joshua Madison. I'm sorry, Larry High Jr. and Sanita Joshua Madison. They would want to know about their name changes. They're off today. Now, for our top story, after finally replacing its top cop, the Pasadena Police Department now has to find a replacement for its second in command, Deputy Chief Christopher Vicino. Vicino heads over to the Riverside Police Department sometime in September, also as the #2 cop there. He joins us live by phone right now from the Alaskan wilderness. He's on vacation. Thanks so much for taking time to talk to us, Chief. Are you there?
Hi, Tammy. How are you?
Great. Thank you. How's your vacation?
It's great. I'm in Sitka, Alaska right now. That's about 75 miles south of Genoa, their capital, just doing some hiking, some fishing, having a great time.
That's great. And I bet your vacation would be better if people weren't pestering you all the time to try and talk to us. But you did kind of leave during a bombshell. We got a press release and information that you were leaving to go to the Riverside Police Department. So, and you've been with the Pasadena Police for about 25 years. Being with the police department that long, why are you leaving now?
Well, when you try to become the police chief, it's kind of like playing poker. You know, you go all in and you you try to be the top cop, and when that doesn't happen, you have to make a decision. At least from my perspective, to maybe get out of the way for the new person to implement their philosophy and their policies. And I just felt it best, not only for myself, but for the Pasadena Police Department to go somewhere else. And this came up sooner than I thought. And when I evaluated that recruitment and their offer, I really couldn't turn it down. It's going to be very good for my family. Well,
it was no secret that you did want that top job. How disappointed were you when you realized it wasn't going to happen?
Well, I think at first you are very disappointed, and then you realize that, perhaps things are happening for a reason, and it wasn't meant to be. And I do believe that you end up where you're supposed to end up. And I do believe most people end up happy and okay where they are. And I'm pretty excited about Riverside. There are many challenges there. It's a much larger department.
Yeah, and speaking of challenges, Chief, the police chief there resigned or went into early retirement because of a DUI, their Chief Leach. They installed LAPD Sergio Diaz. But what do you think it'll be like going into that kind of a challenge there? And there's all kinds of lawsuits flying there because of that incident.
Well, I think that you find out what you really have. I mean, you find out how impactful you can be when you go into a situation that's a bit topsy-turvy. I mean, it's maybe it's easier to it would have been easy to sit and be #2 in Pasadena, and I certainly wouldn't have minded that, but this is a great challenge. I mean, I don't think there's any human being who doesn't want to be challenged, and this is right up my alley, and I'm, like I said, I'm looking forward to it. If you don't know anything about Sergio Diaz, he is extraordinarily well respected in the areas of integrity and honesty as a law enforcement executive.
Is he there permanently or temporarily right now?
No, he's their permanent police chief. He retired from L.A. Sometime in March, and he was selected for this position, and he is their permanent police chief.
Okay. What about in terms of policing and community policing in Riverside? How do you anticipate that? What do you think that'll be like?
Riverside has a very good reputation from their working cops and their desire to involve their community. This is a black eye. And black eye deal. This isn't something that is running deep through Riverside in terms of their rank and file. This is something that someone at the top made mistakes and took out a couple of people at the top with them. And so this is a black eye that needs healing. It will take, maybe a generation of good leadership there to get the others ready, their sergeants and lieutenants, to take over it at those top spots and to make that police department whole again.
Okay, and just to clarify for the viewers, I had a hard time hearing what you said, but you were saying it's a black eye for the police department, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bruise, and bruises heal. With the right treatment and with the right care, the Riverside Police Department will get better. And they believe that Sergio Diaz is the person to do that, and they believe that I'm the right person to help him do that. So I'm very excited to have that opportunity to make a mark and to make a difference at a city like that.
Okay, let's wrap up. And Chief, I hope to have you here live on set with us at some point before you leave for a more in-depth interview. Since the news came out this past week, I really wanted to get it on now before it got to be kind of older news. So I hope you do that. But before you leave right now, I just want to ask you, what would you say was the high point of your time here in Pasadena, and what would be your low point?
Well, probably the low point was the continued feeling of resentment as it relates to Michael Zinza. You and I have talked briefly about this, and, it just seemed to keep coming up, even though a lot of folks knew that I wasn't involved with that. And conversely, on a personal level, Tammy, that was also the high point. I mean, imagine being strapped with that for 25 years and being able to overcome that time and time again, to always have that come up during promotion time and to overcome that adversity. You really learn about people when they're working through adverse times. You don't learn much about people when they're in good times. And so I think that most folks really did learn a lot about me when I faced, some of the tougher challenges like that. I am very proud of some of the things I did as a homicide detective. I worked on Pasadena's triple homicides, both the Halloween homicide and the homicide that 3 girls were shotgunned to death in 1991 in the hills behind the Rose Bowl. I'm proud of my philosophy of crime fighting and very proud of the men and women of the Pasadena Police Department that I've worked with. I will miss them a lot. They're great people, and Pasadena is going to be in great hands. You just don't know it yet in terms of those younger cops, those sergeants that are coming. They're going to be great leaders in Pasadena.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Chief Vicino, for talking with us, and we hope to connect with you again before you leave Pasadena. Have a great time in Alaska and have safe travel back.
Okay, Tammy. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
In other news, most of us have been affected by cancer in some way, whether a loved one has suffered from it or whether the doctor has told you the bad news yourself. This past weekend, hundreds came to remember those who have died from cancer and to celebrate the life of cancer survivors during Altadena's 2nd annual Relay for Life event at Farnsworth Park.
Relationship. They represent people, and each has a name and a story to tell.
For many here, the lights of Los Angeles could not compare to lights along the Relay for Life path. During the 2nd annual Altadena Luminaria ceremony, speakers asked everyone to reflect on those fighting cancer or those who had lost the battle.
The flickering candle is a wave right back at you saying, thank you for being part of my life and my recovery.
The 24-hour event allowed people to walk the lighted path late at night and into the next morning. Hundreds walked together during the ceremony as bagpipes wailed for those impacted by cancer. Along with the walkers, event organizers had their own stories of caring for those with cancer. Wendy Schoenhardt's brother-in-law suffered for 10 years with 4 different cancers.
He was a big guy, and this big guy, before he died, turned into a very small person because cancer ate him all up. Brave guy, though. And I appreciate every moment that I had with my brother-in-law.
Rose West's mother survived for 8 years after her breast cancer went into remission, but Rose says it came back with a vengeance, killing her 16 months later. She tells anyone who may be receiving a cancer diagnosis to take someone with them to the doctor.
Because when you hear cancer, then you're deaf. You can't hear anymore. So you need someone with you who can think for you and ask the right questions.
Cancer is a terrible disease.
Volunteers Ben and Nathan, also with family afflicted with cancer, say they were glad to put in long hours to help make the event a success.
It's amazing that people are putting this much effort towards finding a cure.
Live life to the fullest as much as possible.
Because it can be short, huh?
Yeah.
We love the people these luminaries represent, and we remember them, celebrate them, and fight back against this disease.
Rose West also says people should never be afraid to ask for help and that they should get advice from other cancer survivors, caregivers, and anyone else with useful information about after getting a cancer diagnosis, I should say. And to learn more about the event, you can log on to relayforlife.org. Now, here is a snapshot of some other stories that happened this past week right here in the San Gabriel Valley. First, this past Wednesday, sheriff's homicide detectives arrested 2 suspects in Texas for the stabbing murder of a Rosemead couple. Authorities say a 14-year-old female who is the granddaughter of the victims and her 21-year-old boyfriend, Rodolfo Lopez, were involved in this crime, which happened last Monday evening. Officials say Lopez is held on 2 counts of homicide and auto theft, and that the juvenile is being held on auto theft charges as well. Forest officials say the Angeles National Forest is in danger of a serious fire. They say the risk level increased this past weekend from high to very high. Authorities say campfires are still allowed, though. But for more information about potential forest fire dangers and how to prevent them, you can call the Angeles National Forest 574-5208, 626-574-5208. The Immigration and Customs Enforcement's office busted a San Gabriel Valley Asian prostitution ring this past week. Authorities say 3 suspects are being held without bond for using Chinese female immigrants to sell sexual services. ICE officials say the federal government charges a maximum penalty of 10 years for the crime and that the state charges a maximum of 7 years and 4 months. Plenty of other things going on in the San Gabriel Valley. I wish we had all the time in the world to tell you about them. But coming up next, meet your new CCN meteorologist, Curtis Peak, when we come back. That's next on CCN Crown City News, your neighborhood.